Well, hello again, welcome back to Classic Dirt Bike TV. Now we're here at the 2024 Kendal Classic Revival Scramble, and today is of course race day, so I hope you've enjoyed having a look around some of the bikes in the paddock that are soon to take part in this race event. But as I said, we have at least 24 races to get through today, so we're going to have to get our finger out and get on with the racing. So without any further ado, let's head straight down to the start line and let's take in race one. Okay, thanks for coming back to Classic Dirt Bike TV. We're going to get straight on with race one, which is the Greaves and British two-stroke pre-60s, pre-65 and the pre-68s. Another good lineup here of classic dirt bikes, but as they leave the line, it looks like James Thompson has the early leads on that Cecil Pearson Jap. Second place, Harry Stitt on the Jap, and third is actually John Griffiths, who's also on one of those Cecil Pearson Japs. So it's the Jap Rickman Scramblers in positions 1, 2 and 3. But as you can see, it's an absolutely perfect spring day here at the Westmoreland County Showground for this 2024 Revival Scramble. As we take a look at number 33, that's John Griffiths from Northern Ireland. As I said, on one of Cecil Pearson's Rickman Jap machines. The race leader again is James Thompson, one of a team of 4 riders that Cecil has brought over from Northern Ireland to race at this year's event. So a good scrap developing here between number 26 James Thompson and number 111 there, that's Harry Stitt, on a bike that he actually designed and built himself. Harry designed the frame for this bike and put one of Cecil's Jap engines inside. Now there's number 33 in third place, John Griffiths, just making his way through. Up to fourth now is Adrian Lappin, number 44, David Wilson making his way through as well. So as the riders begin lap 2, it looks like we've got 5 Jap machines in the first 5 positions in this race. As we take a look at number 139 at the back there, that's Craig Holmes on that Jimmy Aird BSA machine. But a good scrap here at the front between the 2 Irishmen of James Thompson, number 26 in the lead there, and Harry Stitt, number 111 in second position, and it's still John Griffiths in third with Adrian Lappin in fourth. But as you can see, the track here at the Westmoreland County Showground in superb condition, considering all of the rain that we've had this spring. So it looks like Harry Stitt is now taking the lead from James Thompson. So young Harry Stitt is absolutely flying on that Stitt Jap machine. James Thompson now down to second position. I'm not entirely sure if James has a problem with his Jap racer, or maybe this young man here, Harry Stitt, is just a bit too fast for James on the day. But Harry Stitt, he's certainly moving that old Jap scrambler around this Westmoreland racetrack. Remember, the engines that power these old Jap races are 1930s technology, so as you can see, they're still super quick on these classic scrambles tracks. And as you can see, a good crowd attending this year's Revival Scramble. We always seem to get quite a good crowd at this event each year, but we have 24 races to get through, so quite a lot of racing to take in over the course of the day. So we're looking at our second place man, number 26 James Thompson, and looking back along the track, this is our third placed position rider. This is John Griffiths, and John is again on one of those Rickman Jap race bikes. And in these forthcoming videos, of course, you'll be able to see highlights from every single race on the day, which is 24 races in total, ranging from the vintage pre-60 bikes right up to the relatively modern pre-1984 bikes, or the twin shock class as they were also known. So plenty racing to come from this 2024 Revival Scramble. So we're back with our race leader once again. It's still number 111, Harry Stitt, on a frame, as I said, that he designed and built himself. So not only is this young man very quick on these bikes, he's also a very talented engineer as well. So Harry Stitt well on his way to what could be his first win of the day. Number 193 there, that's Mitch Hughes on that beautiful Shenny Triumph Twin. Number 861 is Stephen Bowles on one of the Greaves bikes. That's a Greaves Griffin 250 that Stephen's riding there. But we're back with our race leader, number 111, Harry Stitt, as he comes to cross the line to start his last and final lap of this first race of the day. So Harry's started this weekend on quite a good positive note. It's still James Thompson in second position, with John Griffiths currently in third. So Harry Stitt well on his way to what could be his first race win. But again, a big thanks to Cecil Pearson for bringing all of these Jap scramblers over to the Revival Scramble again this year. I think Cecil's brought 6 of these bikes over, and I'm pretty sure that he has a total of 9 of these Jap scramblers back home in his Northern Ireland. But here's your second place man, number 26, James Thompson. Looks like James is just cruising around on this last and final lap. A couple of the Greaves riders there. So we've just got a couple of turns to go before this man here can chalk up his first race win of the day. But this has been quite a dominant ride from this very talented engineer and bike racer, number 111, Harry Stitt. So it's a win for Harry Stitt. Second place is going to go to James Thompson, but I think John Griffiths is not going to finish this race because he appears to have some problem with his Rickman Jap machine. As we take a look at number 788 there, that's Alan Graves on his 380 Greaves Griffin, and just passing him there is number 11 David Wilson, who's also riding one of those Cecil Pearson Rickman Japs. So that brings us on to race 2, and next up it's the turn of the Twin Shock 125A and Twin Shock 125B class. And how is that for a lineup of little 125 racers? Almost a full gate here at the Revival Scramble for these little 125 two-strokers. But as they leave the line, looks like number 14 has made quite a good start. Mark Beeston's also made a good start on that A5 KX Kawasaki. So as they come round, it looks like it's number 14 who's your race leader, who in fact is not listed in the race programme, unfortunately. So as we begin lap 1, it's still number 14 who, as I said, is not listed in the race programme, but I'll certainly find out who the rider is as we make our way along. But in third place there, that's Mark Beeston, number 29 on that immaculately turned out KX A5 125 Kawasaki. Mark's currently sitting in third position there as they cross the line to begin at lap 2. But there's certainly been a resurgence of interest in these little 125 two-strokers, and this is a very popular formula for classic racing, these little 125, so it's nice to see some of the old bikes getting back out onto the track. Now here's your race leader, number 14, and again I apologise for not being able to name the rider. Number 224 there is Andy Hinchcliffe on his little CR 125 Honda. As we take a look at some of the other riders in this 125A and B class, number 161 just passing us there, that's Joseph Dent on his CR 125 Honda. But a good scrap here developing at the front. It looks like Andy Hinchcliffe is beginning to close in on our number 14 rider, so this could be quite a good little battle towards the end of the race. But Andy Hinchcliffe doing very well there in second position on the 125 Elsinore Honda. And I've now actually been given the information that we require on our race leader, number 14 at the front there. That is in fact Richard Mason on his YZ Yamaha. So a good scrap here developing between Richard Mason and Andy Hinchcliffe in second position. It looks like Andy's going to press to take the lead in this race, but it's still Richard Mason, your race leader. But we also have a good scrap going on for the third and fourth place positions between number 26 Mark Wartig and number 29 there Mark Beeston on that Kawasaki. Those two having a right old ding-dong for that third and fourth placed positions. Number 161 there is Joseph Dent on his CR125 Honda. It looks like we've got a faller. That's number 194 Mark Sheldon on his RM125 Suzuki. Now it looks like a race leader has just dropped his bike there, so that's Richard Mason. I think he dropped his bike going into one of the corners, but he's up and running again, but he's dropped back. I think he's dropped back to about second or third place position, so that makes number 224, this man here, Andy Hinchcliffe, our new race leader. And it looks like Richard has managed to still secure that second place position, so Andy Hinchcliffe on a very good ride here to take a possible win in this race. There's Richard Mason currently in second position. Mark Beeston, number 29, is in third, going well on that lovely KX Kawasaki. Another rider there with mechanical problems, number 171, who again is not listed in the programme, possibly a late entry. Many of these late entries don't get listed in the programme, but here's your race leader. It's number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, going well on his little CR125 Honda. And this, of course, will just be one of two bikes that you can see Andy in action here this weekend. He'll be out a little later on his CZ, so look out for Andy riding that Czechoslovakian CZ in another racing class. But it's still Richard Mason in second position, but Mark Beeston is closing in on Richard Mason, so this could be a battle for the second place position. So Mark Beeston absolutely flying on that little KX 125 two-stroke Kawasaki. But you can see the track here at the Westmoreland County Showground in absolute perfect condition for this kind of racing. There's been quite a lot of rain here in the UK this spring, so there's been quite a few events already being cancelled because of the wet weather, but you couldn't ask for anything better here at Westmoreland this weekend. And also I'd like to say well done to everybody at the Westmoreland Motor Club for putting on this fantastic event, and all of the infrastructure that goes in to making it a success. So there's your race leader, Andy Hinchcliffe, who starts his last and final lap of this race. So it looks like Andy's got quite a comfortable lead over the battle between Richard Mason and Mark Beeston for the second and third place positions. So there's your second place man, Richard Mason. It looks like Richard has opened up a bit of a gap to Mark Beeston, who's still currently in third position. So Richard, although he had that slight misdemeanour and dropping his bike into one of the corners, it looks like he's still going to manage to bring his YZ Yamaha across the line in second position. So still quite a good recuperation from Richard in second. There's your third place man, Mark Beeston, just making his way through, and just behind Mark is number 26, Mark Wartig, on his CR Honda. Number 94, just making his way through, is Charles Edward Johnson on his 1980 125 Honda. But as our race leader heads towards the checkered flag, it's going to be the first win of the day for Andy Hinchcliffe on his Honda 125, and it's going to be Richard Mason who's going to still manage to bring his bike across the line in second position, and Mark Beeston will also cross the line in that well-deserved third place position. You can see Mark just coming across the line to take the checkered flag. Which quite conveniently brings us on to race 3, which of course is the pre-1978 class, and as you can see, another belter of a lineup, almost another full gate of pre-1978 bikes. But as they head into turn 1, it looks like a good start there by number 56. I think that's Tony Barnes on that big 4-stroke CCM bike. Trevor Calderwood's also made a good start. Steve Ruddock again in the mix there, number 711 on his 74 250 Kawasaki. Bill Brown there just making his way up the hill. So some very quick riders in this race 3 for the pre-1978 bikes. So as the riders make their way down from the top of the hill to complete lap 1, it's this man here, number 56, Tony Barnes, who's riding a 1974 520 4-stroke CCM. So Tony Barnes going very well on that Alan Clues Classic. Second place is number 32, Trevor Calderwood on the CZ from Northern Ireland. Steve Ruddock making his way across the line, currently in third place on that very quick Kawasaki. So as our riders begin at lap 2, it's still number 56, Tony Barnes on the big 4-stroke CCM. These bikes, of course, made famous by the great Alan Clues, who basically started CCM by taking a bog standard 500B50 BSE engine and tuning it for more power to form these superb CCM 4-stroke racers. And just coming into shot now is number 50, that's Leslie Calderwood, the brother of Trevor Calderwood, who's currently in third position, but it sounds like Les has got some ignition problems with that CCM. It's doing a lot of spluttering and banging and popping, so he needs to get that sorted for the next race. But no such problems for this man here, number 56, Tony Barnes on his 4-stroke CCM. So Tony's crossing the line now to start another lap, and in second position now it's number 711, that's Steve Ruddock on that very quick 250 Kawasaki. So Steve Ruddock absolutely flying on that little KX. Trevor Calderwood now currently down to third position on his CZ. So Steve Ruddock going very well on that beautiful KX Kawasaki. This was another bike that I came across during my paddock walkabout, but unfortunately I couldn't get near the bike to take some clips, but a lovely looking little machine and very quick, as you can see. Number 32 there, Trevor Calderwood in third position on his CZ, and this will be one of two bikes that Trevor will be racing this weekend. Number 11, just making his way through, is Brian Atkinson on his 250 Honda Elsinore. Number 19 is Gordon Forbes from Helensburgh on the west coast of Scotland. So we're looking back along the far side of the track to pick up our race leader as he comes round to complete another lap. It's still at number 56, Tony Barnes on the big CCM. It looks like Tony's got a decent lead over second place man Steve Ruddock, number 711 in second position. So Tony Barnes is certainly flying along on this big four-stroke CCM. But as I said, we do have quite a lot of racing to get through for the Sunday. 24 races in total, so there's still plenty action to come here on Classic Dirt Bike TV, and of course we will be covering every single race from this Sunday's race event. So as we continue this pre-1978 class, number 17 there is Mike van der Merwe from Scotland on that lovely RM Suzuki machine. So we're back with our race leader, number 56, Tony Barnes, as he just makes his way past number 53 there, Mr. Wolfsport himself, Bill Brown, who does a lot of hard work and sponsorship for these kind of classic events. And if we didn't have Bill's input, we would certainly be a lot worse off with regards Twin Shock and classics racing. So well done to Bill Brown. But it's still Tony Barnes, your race leader, as we take a look at number 32, Trevor Calderwood from Northern Ireland. And Trevor's riding one of the many CZ bikes that he has in his collection at home. But Trevor still doing very well there in third position, just behind number 711, who's just coming into shot there, Steve Ruddock in second position. Number 11 making his way through again, that is of course Brian Atkinson on his 250 Elsinore Honda. But once again, this has been another quite dominant ride from this man here, number 56, Tony Barnes. He's almost led this race from turn one, so Tony Barnes riding a blinder here as he crosses the line to start his last and final lap of this pre-78 class race. There's your second place man, Steve Ruddock on the KX 250 Kawasaki. So it's a little 250 two-stroke versus the big four-stroke of Tony Barnes. Trevor Calderwood still doing well there in third position. I don't know if Trevor will be able to pass Steve Ruddock before the end of this race, but I expect that Trevor will give it a go. So it's Steve Ruddock currently in second position as he goes into the turn, but whoops, I don't know if Steve missed a gear there or locked that back wheel up, but he certainly gave some ground to Trevor Calderwood here, so he's going to have a go going up the hill. So oh my god, these two are bashing bars as they head into the turn, but it looks like it's Steve Ruddock who still came out best in second position. So A nice scrap going on here for the second and third place positions. But it looks like it's going to be the first win of the day for number 56, Tony Barnes. It's been another good ride here by the talented CCM rider. So as he comes round to take the checkered flag and his first win of the day, well done to Tony on that big CCM. But we're looking at the battle for second and third, and it's still going to be Steve Ruddick who's going to cross the line in second, and Trevor Calderwood this time round is going to have to make do with third place on his CZ. So that brings us around to race 4, which is the pre-74s over 250s and the pre-74s up to 250s. A nice collection of 250 bikes as they make their way into turn 1. It looks like Chris Winder has made a good start there, number 2 on the 250 Elsinore. Andy Hinchcliffe is out again, this time on his CZ. Andy's in second position. Ian Knight's also made a good start there on the 250 Honda in third position. Looks like we've got a couple of fallers there. Looks like a collision between number 31 and number 72. I think that's Mauro Cipolato-Get. I do apologise if that's not the correct pronunciation for that rider's name, but a very nice 250 KTM there. So as our race leader starts at lap 2, it's Chris Winder on the 250 Honda Elsinore. Second place is Andy Hinchcliffe there on the CZ. Third is number 21, that's Ian Knight. That's one of the nice bikes that we had a look at in the paddock. That nice 250 Elsinore. I think Ian actually rides other machines as well. He's got a nice couple of YZ 125 Yamahas as well. But Ian's going very well here on the 250 Elsinore. As we take a look at number 23, that's Sam Tatum on the CZ 250, and that number 388 bike there is Jordan Ansell on the Greaves Griffin. So it's still number 2, Chris Winder, your race leader, as he comes round to complete another lap. Chris is one of the hardest workers that I know of the Westmoreland Motor Club. Every time I turn up at this event, you'll always find Chris banging in posts or putting up banners or doing other kind of track preparations. So he's certainly one of the very hardest workers here at the Westmoreland Club. So well done to Chris again for helping out. Second position is still this man here, number 224, Andy Hinchcliffe, riding, as I said, this time his CZ bike as opposed to his 125 Honda that we saw him racing in the previous race. But once again, Andy Hinchcliffe going very well on this lovely turned out CZ machine. And it's still Ian Knight coming through in third position there, just going through, and just behind Ian is number 29, that's Derek Macaulay from Arbroath in Scotland. Number 125 is Ian Stainton riding that Clues Stroker 4-stroke machine, but Chris Winder is nice and comfortable out front on the 250 Elsinore as he comes round to complete another racing lap. So Chris Winder going very well in his first race of the day. But certainly thanks, of course, have to go to the Westmoreland County Agricultural Society for allowing this event to go ahead this year, because as you know, there's been quite a few other race meetings that have been already cancelled this year because of the very wet spring weather that we had, as landowners, of course, didn't want their precious green grass parks all dug up by cars and vans and bikes. But thankfully that is not the case here this weekend. So well done to the Westmoreland County Agricultural Society for allowing this event to go ahead. So we're currently looking at our third placed position rider, number 21, Ian Knight, on that 1973 250 Honda Elsinore. And here we have the Greaves boys again, who are currently racing in their own Dave Harper Greaves Championship, and we're looking at number 388 there. That's Jordan Ansell on his 1969 380 Greaves Griffin, a very rare bike that you certainly don't see on racetracks these days. And number 10 there on the 250 Husqvarna is another late entry because his name isn't listed in the race programme, but we're looking at our third placed position rider again, Ian Knight, as he crosses the line to start another lap. Chris Winder is still currently in control of this race at the front, with Andy Hinchcliffe in second position. There is Chris Winder at number 2, still going well on the 250 Elsinore. Number 23 is seems to have had a fall. That's Sam Tatum again on his 250 CZ. So it's our race leader Chris Winder as he heads towards the finish line to start his last and final lap of this race. So this has been a very dominant performance from this talented young rider, Chris Winder. There's your second place man, Andy Hinchcliffe, on his CZ machine. And actually, I'm not entirely convinced that Andy's maybe even dropped his bike at the far side of the track when we weren't filming him, because the whole side, the right-hand side of his race suit and arms are totally covered in mud there, as if he'd fell onto that side of the bike. So maybe he has dropped the bike when we weren't looking, but he's still going strong, and as far as I know, it's still in that second place position. So it's number 224 Andy Hinchcliffe, who I think is still in second place. But our race leader Chris Winder has already crossed the line to take the win, so well done to Chris. As we take a look at number 261 who's lying on the deck, that's Alan Dale on his BSA 350. Okay, so on to race 5. This is the Twin Shock 250 class, another good lineup of riders for this race. So as they all charge down into turn 1, it looks like Lee Payne has made a good start there, number 1 on the CR250 Honda. Number 22 has also made a good start, that's Peter Carr on his 250 Honda. But it looks like everybody's safely around the first couple of turns, except of course this man here, number 111, that's Paul Armour on his nice Montesa Capra. Looks like number 9 Dave Watson has also got some kind of mechanical issues with his KX250 Kawasaki. But as the riders come along to complete lap 1, we have a new race leader. That's number 43, that's Ryan Ireland. You may remember we had a look at this bike in our paddock walkabout video in part 2, a very nice looking old red rocket, and quick to boot, as you can see. But in second place, it's still a battle there between Peter Carr in second position and Lee Payne in third. So the current track positions are this man here, number 43, Ryan Ireland, in first. It looks like Lee Payne is now taking that second position from Peter Carr in third. So Lee Payne certainly on the move as these bikes begin at lap 2. And certainly the weather conditions improving considerably as we go through the day. The sun is now shining, so it's an almost perfect spring day here at the Westmoreland County Showground. So here's your race leader as he comes round to complete another lap. It's number 43, Ryan Island on that 1980 CR250 Honda Red Rocket. Second position is number 1 Lee Payne, also on a Honda Red Rocket, and third is this man here, number 22 Peter Carr. So these Red Rockets are certainly flying around this county showground racetrack. Now for me personally, I think this is about my fourth or even possibly my fifth year attending this Westmoreland Scramble, which is usually an event that I pencil in the calendar at the start of each racing season, because there's always a very good selection of bikes to take a look at here, and some excellent track action. Number 67 just coming into shot there is Michael Tweddle on his 250 Honda Red Rocket. So as you can see, there is quite a selection of these iconic Red Rockets in this race. As we take a look at number 1, that's Lee Payne in second position, who's chasing down Ryan Ireland for that first place position. But Ryan Ireland looking good here at the front on his 250 Honda. Still Lee Payne there in second position. So Lee also going well on his particular Red Rocket. Number 32 there is another rider that's not listed in the race programme. But this man here certainly is, number 43 Ryan Ireland, as he comes round to complete another racing lap. Lee Payne is still in second position, but I think Lee Payne is beginning to move up closer to Ryan Ireland. So as Ryan comes round to complete another racing lap, he has a look back and he can physically see Lee Payne catching him on this lap. So Lee Payne certainly got his Red Rocket absolutely flying around this racetrack, because we still have a couple of laps to go, so there's still plenty time for Lee Payne to get up there and make a challenge for the pole position in this race. But still Ryan Ireland, number 43, who is your race leader, he keeps having that little glance back to see where Lee Payne is, and you can physically see Lee Payne closing in on Ryan Ireland. So this could be a battle to the finish line between these two riders. So when Ryan Ireland crosses the finish line this time round, he'll be beginning his last and final lap, but you can see that Lee Payne is almost on Ryan Ireland's back wheel. So Lee Payne is certainly going to have a go before the end of this race, but it's still Ryan Ireland, your current race leader. Ryan Ireland, of course, a local man to this area from Kendal, so he knows this Westmoreland racetrack quite well. But as he comes around to start his last and final lap, Lee Payne is right on his back wheel now, so this could be a battle royal to the end of this race. So it's still Ryan Ireland, your race leader, but it looks like we've lost Lee Payne. It looks like Lee's Honda Red Rocket has let him down. It looks like something like maybe a broken drive chain or something like that. But Lee is definitely out of this race, and he was going very well on that 250 Honda, which is a massive shame, because he was doing well and we were looking forward to a grandstand finish in this race. Number 21 just going through there, that's Neil Jones, also on a 250 Honda. But this has been quite a good ride by this very talented young man here, number 43 Ryan Ireland. So he's going to come across the finish line to take his first race win of the day in the Twin Shock 250 class. So it's a win for Ryan Ireland. But it looks like Lee Payne has managed to get the bike running again, so I don't think it was a broken drive chain. Maybe the chain it just came off the bike, but he's certainly got it going again, and he's going to cross the line in second position. So well done to Lee. So that quite nicely brings us on to race 6, which is the veterans class of the Twin Shock Open, aged 60 and over. So these guys might be in their twilight racing years, but they've certainly not lost any of the speed that they enjoyed when they were racing as a younger rider. So as they'll leave the line and charge down into turn 1, looks like it's Trevor Calderwood who's made a good start there on the 490 Michael, number 32 there. Dave Salkeld's also made a good start on that big, massive 570cc 4-stroke Husqvarna. So, as I said, these guys may be veterans, but they're certainly not slow, as you can see. So as we get back to our race leaders, it's still number 32, Trevor Calderwood from Northern Ireland. And you may remember Trevor was out in an earlier race on his CZ bike. Number 2 in second position is Dave Salkeld on that big thumper 4-stroke Husqvarna. So Dave Salkeld certainly started this race very well as they crossed the line to begin at lap 2. So it's still number 32, Trevor Calderwood on the 490 Michael, now being challenged by Dave Salkeld on that big 4-stroke Husqvarna. Trevor has the inside line. Dave Salkeld tries to go round the outside using the massive horsepower from that Husqvarna engine, but Trevor keeping a tight line on the 490 Michael. Remember, these 81 490 Michaels handle superbly in these kind of conditions, but Trevor might be out horsepowered by the CCs in that big 4-stroke Husqvarna of Dave Salkeld there, sitting in second position. But certainly not much to choose between these two riders in these opening laps of this Twin Shock at 60 years of age and over. But it's still Trevor Calderwood, number 32, who leads Dave Salkeld on the 4-stroke Husqvarna. So Trevor still going well on the 490 Michael. This bike will be a total contrast, of course, from his lighter and more nimble CZ bike that Trevor raced in an earlier category, but going well just now on the big German Michael. But Dave Salkeld there in second place, as you can see, is taking a much different approach to the corners than Trevor Calderwood is. Trevor's trying to keep that Michael tight into the corners, and Dave Salkeld is going to the outside of the corners where possibly the grip is better, but you can see he's certainly lining up a pass on Trevor Calderwood. So this is going to be quite a good race if everything goes according to plan. As we take a look at number 74, that's Alan Bott riding his 81 490 Michael, but it's still Trevor Calderwood who's still managing to hold off Dave Salkeld on the 4-stroke Husqvarna. And don't forget that the next event for the Westmoreland Motor Club will be yet another round of their Northern Championship Scrambles, which will be held at Ian Ridley's superb facility at Bassenthwaite on the 6th of May, which is another great venue for classic scrambling, and that will be on the bank holiday Monday of the 6th of May. So it's back to our race leader, number 32, Trevor Calderwood from Northern Ireland. Second is still Dave Salkeld. Looks like Dave has fallen back ever so slightly, so Trevor will be quite pleased about that. But Dave Salkeld is still in there giving it large on that big Husqvarna. Another shot here of number 74, Alan Bott, on the 81 490 Michael. Number 81 just going past there was, of course, Chris Cannon, on his RM Suzuki. So it's still Trevor Calderwood who leads Dave Salkeld in second position. And I'm already looking forward to revisiting Northern Ireland once again to see this man here, Trevor Calderwood, and many of the other guys in Northern Ireland who will be attending Cecil Pearson's charity event in June. And I usually make my annual pilgrimage along to that event because it's a very worthwhile event. It raises thousands of pounds for local charities. So I'm looking forward to heading back over there to Northern Ireland in the middle of June. Now here's your second place man here, number 2, Dave Salkeld. Alan Bott still going well on the 490 Michael. It looks like we've got a faller down there. I think that's number... Yeah, I think that was Tony Travis there picking his bike up, picking up his RM 400 Suzuki. But it's still Trevor Calderwood, number 32 on the 490 Michael, who is still your race leader as he comes around to start his last and final lap of this race. It looks like Trevor's managed to keep Dave Salkeld behind him, so Trevor at this point looking good for a win. I think that man there is in third position. I think that's number 185. That will be Gary Morley on his YZ 250 Yamaha. So Gary again going very well in this veterans over 60s class race. And of course these YZ Yamahas are monoshock bikes, and they're allowed to race against the twin shock bikes purely because of the fact that these bikes don't have rear suspension linkages, but they also have drum brakes on the front and rear and an air-cooled engine. But here's your race leader on his last few turns off the track. It's number 32, Trevor Calderwood. So Trevor's coming round to notch up his first win of the day. Doesn't seem to be any sign of Dave Salkeld, who was running in second position, but this has been a very comfortable win for Trevor Calderwood, and there is number 2, Dave Salkeld, crossing the line in second position. So we're going straight into race 7, and this will conclude this part 1 of the racing from the Revival Scramble 2024, and this is the twin shock age 45 and over class, and as you can see, an almost full lineup of riders once again. So some quick riders in this class as they leave the line and charge down into turn 1, and it looks like it's number 3, Willie Burgess from Northern Ireland, who is your race leader. In third position there, Craig Smith, number 25, has also made a good start. So some quick riders in this particular class. So as they make their way down the hill, it's still Willie Burgess in first position. I think that could be Kenneth Muir, who is in second, number 14 on the YZ Yamaha, and I think it's still Craig Smith in third. But Willie Burgess has already opened up a decent gap to the second place man as he comes round to complete lap 1. So it's Willie Burgess from Northern Ireland on the Mago Michael. Now I still don't understand where the Mago part of that title comes from. I think it's a sort of a term of endearment where the Michael may go, or then again it may not, but it's still Willie Burgess, your race leader. Number 14 should be Kenneth Muir in second, as we take a look at number 25. That's Craig Smith from my hometown in Dunfermline in Fife. So a local man here doing very well on his 490 Michael. Craig Smith there on the black race machine, coming round in fourth position. We take a look at number 46, that's Jonathan Bethel on the big 540 TC Husqvarna. Number 36 just flying past there was John Smith on his CR500 Honda. Number 43 on the left there, that's Andy Mallock from Burlton in Angus in Scotland. He's going well on his 414 Montesa, but it's still Willie Burgess who comes round to complete lap at number 2. So Willie Burgess absolutely flying on that 490 Michael. Willie, of course, not only does a lot of racing in his native Northern Ireland, he also makes regular trips to the UK mainland to take on the best of the UK's twin shock racers. As we still take a look at number 25 there in third, that's Craig Smith. Number 14 is Kenneth Muir. I think Kenneth's riding a YZ 490 Yamaha. Craig Smith still there, number 25 in third position. We're taking a look now at number 84, that's Adam Tabrit on the KTM 560, so another big bruiser of a bike in this twin shock 45 years of age and over. But Willie Burgess is coming round to complete another lap, so Willie Burgess absolutely motoring around this Westmoreland County showground track. So Willie completing another racing lap on the flying Mago Michael. But as I said, we will have all of the remaining races for you to take a look at in the coming parts from this year's Revival Scramble. I think there will be 4 parts with the racing footage on it, so make sure that you either subscribe to my channel or even just return to take a look at the racing. So we are currently looking at number 16, that's Paul Coward, and he's riding one of those big 4-stroke HL 500 Yamahas. It looks like he's passed Craig Smith for that third placed position. So we're back with our race leader again, Willie Burgess. Doesn't look like anybody's going to get close enough to Willie to make a challenge in this race, because he's very comfortable here at the front of the pack. So Willie crossing the line to complete another lap. There's your second placed man, Kenneth Muir on the YZ Yamaha. Craig Smith is currently in fourth, but there's your third placed man at number 16, that's Paul Coward on the big 4-stroke HL Yamaha. And Paul's particular HL 500 4-stroke Yamaha is unfortunately not one of the original bikes from the 1970s. Those particular models are very few and far between, but nevertheless this is a nice replica style bike and very quick, as you can see. As we take a look at number 43 there, that's Andy Mallock from Burlton in Angus in Scotland. Andy is riding his 414 Montesa Capra. Andy's bike is another one of these European Spanish Montesas that you don't see too often riding on the tracks these days. Number 74 is Alan Bott, just behind Andy, just going through on that 81 490 Michael. But Willie Burgess up at the front, still looking very comfortable for the race win. And when Willie crosses the finish line this time, he'll be starting his last and final lap of this race. But this has been a very good opening race for the man from Ireland, Willie Burgess. And as you can see, that Mago Michael is very quick around this tight and twisty Westmoreland County Showground track. Looks like number 55 there, Dom Durkin on his Husqvarna Yamaha is retiring from this race. So here's the man just about to take the checkered flag. So it's going to be the first win of the day for number 3, Willie Burgess, as he crosses the line to take his win in the Twin Shock Open at 45 years of age and over. And coming across the line in second, it's number 16, Paul Coward, who is going to finish ahead of number 25, Craig Smith. But that brings part 1 of the racing action from the Revival Scramble 2024 to an end. So make sure that you either subscribe or come back to Classic Dirt Bike TV to see the remaining races from this fantastic Classic Scramble event.